Today I'm transforming an old, past, unfinished board into a cozy September decor piece using the brand new Santa's Hollow transfer from the current IOD Holiday Collection 2025. This set has the most beautiful apple and autumn elements, gorgeous fall decor pieces that we can create, and I couldn't wait to turn them into something special for a September gallery wall that I'm going to create. Think of this as a slow creative session, layered, textured, and full of inspiration for your own fall decorating. Hi friends, I'm Carrie with Seal Roots Market, rooted in grace, creativity, and charm. On this channel, I try to slow down and take joy in the process and create meaningful decor pieces for our home. In this project, you will see how I start with a chalk painted base with a slight distressed background stamping, and then play with IOD transfers until the design comes together. And I'll share some tips for layering, distressing, and even adding some gilded touches that make the whole piece glow. Whether you're new to transfers or a seasoned maker, there's inspiration here to spark your next project. If you love DIY, slow crafting, and cottage style creativity, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming projects, and give this video a quick thumbs up. It helps me so much for my creative community to grow. So let's get started. I started with an old IOD board from a previous project. It already had a layer of like an antique white chalk paint and some stamped butterflies in the background. This was the IOD stamp decor stamp. To refresh it, I gave it a very light wash of watered down antique white chalk paint. And then I come in and pounce it with a textured sea sponge to create a soft texture for that background image. Now I do this repeatedly to get the coverage I wanted. I wanted to have the butterfly images only pop out in certain areas. So I do this a few times to get it to the coverage that I want. And then after it completely dried, I did do a light scuff with a sanding block, just enough to let some of the butterfly peek through the texture and age. Now, one little tidbit about this, I did not know what direction I was going in fully. I just knew I wanted to create something warm for September, a lot of earthy browns, and something that I could hang for this apple season. Next, after that was all dry and ready to go, I dive into the best part. So much fun playing with the transfer pieces. So this particular transfer, Santa's Hollow, has so many beautiful elements, and I really wanted you to see the variety. So I left a lot of my trial and error and planning in this video. So you will get to see or get inspiration on some different layout options with this. If you have this transfer at home, you might say, oh, that's a neat composition. You may want to go ahead and give it a try. Or if you haven't purchased this one, there is still lots of time to use all the elements in this amazing transfer. Sometimes with just slow crafting, if you have time to get that in, it's simply that. Just cutting the pieces out, moving them around, stepping away, coming back, and seeing how it feels. Is it going in the direction that you want it to go? And that is so much fun with these IOD tools that you get to be able to use in so many variety of ways. And I encourage you to do the same. Enjoy the process, take your time, and let that layout design unfold naturally. So as you can see, this part of the process literally takes me the longest, and that's completely okay. I like to leave this in the video because there's so much fun and just joy in creating with the IOD transfers, and it's all about playing and thinking up different projects. So I cut all several pieces out and then just move them around, try different arrangements. Sometimes, again, even walking away for a while, and I come back with the fresh eyes, and that's the beauty of slow crafting. It's not about rushing to finish, it's about enjoying each step. If you're working with transfers for the first time, I want to share just a couple of tips. Number one, always keep the carrier sheet on until you're 100% ready to commit. Otherwise, you have the possibility of that design sticking where you do not want it. So keep that carrier sheet on. Don't be afraid to cut the elements apart. Smaller pieces are easier to layer and you can maneuver. You can get more flexibility in your layout, and keep those little extra bits in a little envelope that you don't use, because believe me, you will eventually use them in mixing and matching, whether you're paper crafting, doing a mixed media, maybe making a card. I love doing little creative trading cards that I send into my packages to my customers as little happy mail. So keep them. You will definitely want them. Now, I'll be honest, I left a lot of this layout process in the video, and it might feel repetitive because some of you guys watch all kinds of these tutorials, but I wanted to share just so that you can see what's possible. Just seeing the layouts might give you a whole different idea and spark and a great idea for your own project. I also wanted to share this because I'm learning right along with you for this recording and editing video stuff. This has been a huge learning curve for me. There's so many new different apps to use and different things that we should be using. And I will start recording and then I realize that button wasn't pushed on, or this wasn't set up, or the lighting wasn't great. So I'm still trying to figure it all out. And there will be clips that are missing, but I still hope you enjoy watching the process unfold. And I just want you to know I really appreciate you being here as I grow this channel. Okay, so after I got those main pieces of the transfer on, I come in with a light-handed sandy block to give this piece just a touch of distressing. I don't go heavy-handed, just enough to let those earlier layers kind of peek through, and you can already see how that stamped butterfly in the background, you can still start to see it, and it gives a whole piece more depth and history. And once I saw that, that led me to bringing in the next step of stamps. But a little bit about this step is really flexible. If you love a more rustic aged look, go ahead and sand more. And if you prefer it softer and cleaner, keep it light. The beauty of these projects is that there's no single right way. It's all about your personal style. And I also wanted to share another one of those moments where I let myself slow down. Sometimes I sand a bit, take a step back, look at the piece, pause, go do another project or go do a task in the house, and it's not wasted time. This allows you to make intentional creative choices. So this is exactly what led me to bringing in the stamps. So this next step really was fun, and it really sent me into that next direction, and it just added so much depth. So I brought in the IOD Ephemeral Melange stamp set. This stamp set is just absolutely amazing. If you haven't purchased it yet for your creative projects, it is a must-have. So with this, I ended up just grabbing my Tim Holtz Distress ink in walnut stain and antique linen. One was nice and bold, a little bit darker in that brown, and then the other one was so subtle and just a really great touch. But more about that stamp set. If you haven't gotten it, it just really elevates all your projects. It's one that you will go to over and over again, whether you're paper crafting, doing junk journals, mixed media, making some cards. That stamp set is so much fun. So it's just a great way to add little touches of script and text into that background, and I wanted it so it wasn't overwhelming. That's why I chose those colors. I also like to stamp off before I apply that stamp. I like to stamp off onto a paper towel to give it a little bit of a texture too, and that's just another tip. So another little tip that I did in here was before applying that bird layout of label, I did come in, I think you saw me sand over the little tips of the leaf that it would then overlapping and layered. I did that so it wasn't strong underneath that light oval, and I really like the way that turned out. But I just thought that was darling how that layered onto that. And another thing that I want to mention when this was going fast forward, I did cut the transfer quite a bit and positioned them so that I could get different angles with that. So after stepping away for a while, like I try to encourage, I come back and I realize I just could not resist bringing in some gold. I had originally planned in my head to keep this piece more neutral, earthy brown, soft layers, very natural. But once I saw it as I worked through, I knew I just couldn't resist adding that gilded touch. And I am so glad that I did and changed my mind, because those golden accents really set this piece apart and gave it a rich September glow. So I pulled out the IOD Gilded Petites transfers and found a beautiful scroll design that worked perfectly as a banner above the word September. Unfortunately, my camera cut out during this part, but applying it is just like any other IOD transfer. Just trim it to fit, rub it down with the applicator tool, and burnish it well. The only difference is the Gilded transfer has that metallic sheen, which makes it just so special. They are so much fun. If you haven't tried them, I would love to see you try them, share your projects with me. Here's another little tip. If you're layering the gilded designs, don't be afraid, again, to cut them apart. Sometimes trimming a section gives you more flexibility to just add into a corner, and you're going to see me do that later into the video here. It's coming up. Line it around another element, but always keep those carrier sheets on until you're ready to commit. The gilded transfers are just as sticky as the regular ones, I find, especially if you're working on a slick surface or glass or something. Once I had that scroll in place, I did shade the edges with a brown antiquing glaze that was not recorded, and I did drag it slightly up to the front of the top of the edge, the surface, to give it more of a finished look, like a framed look. Then I did seal the board with a varnish by Pentart, but you could use whatever sealer you have on hand. And then I did come back in, as you see here, and decided to give it a little freshen up with some stamping. This time I did bring in a little metallic gold ink pad. Mine is like literally over 20 years old, but it still works beautifully for adding the accent around the edge and inside the little bird label you're going to see me add it into. It worked perfect. Use the same stamps that I did earlier, but dig through your old supplies. Sometimes the things you've had forever are just the perfect touch. And another little bit is if you have a variety of waxes or jewels, you can go ahead and add those around your piece. But here's the part where, to tie everything together, I used some leftover pieces of the gilded vine transfer. I did not apply the whole thing. I just snipped off like a little section, and then I literally just tucked them around the design. You're gonna see I didn't even transfer the whole piece, just tiny details, little glimmers, so when the light hits it, it made it perfect. It just made it feel layered and complete. If you don't use all your pieces, clip them together, tuck them back into like a little envelope or a packaging, and they'll be ready for your next project or even a smaller craft like cards or junk journals. I love adding them to those pieces. I'll have to share that sometime, so make sure you give a follow to see that. My plan is to go around with that vintage gold. It's like a very brushed gold type of color, and I decided I will be adding that all the way around, so when it's hanging on the wall you will see it. Right now I'm showing a variety of top coats or clear coats you could use of your choice to finish this piece off. Even though the video missed a few clips, you can still see how it came together. It just really was about layering transfers, adding depth with stamps, and finishing the touches, which makes it so unique. And honestly, I hope leaving the imperfect parts and the rearranging and the trial and error and even missing clips shows you that creating doesn't have to be perfect. It's about enjoying the process, learning as you go, and letting each piece evolve, but just enjoy the process. If you'd like to try this yourself, you can find the IOD Santa's Hollow transfers, the Gilded Petites, the Pentart finishes, and much, much more in my shop. I'll add the link below at steelbrutesmarket.com. And if you've enjoyed watching, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with a friend who loves creating. It really, really helps me out continue to grow this creative space. And I thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending this time with me tonight, and I hope you feel inspired to slow down, play with those supplies, and create something beautiful for your home or gifting. Until next time, happy creating.